All right, y'all. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I will project my voice and get closer to the camera if you need to hear me. But I want to make sure you guys can see me. Okay. So this is going to be a different video. This is not going to be my regular video. I'm not doing tarot in this video. Um, this video is going to be me telling the story about why I moved to the island. I'm still keeping it like private about where exactly I'm at, but I will tell you the story behind it. Um, it really isn't like a big me moving to the islands isn't a big like story, but what pushed me to come here is kind of a big story. So I know a lot of you guys are wondering like, what is Kay doing? Where's she at? Like, what's going on with her and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to adjust this a little bit, so just bear with me. But I know some of you guys are like, where is Kay at? What is she doing? Why did she move to the islands? And this is gonna be the full story. And this is gonna go all the way back to last year. Cause I was thinking about it and I was like, well, they deserve to know. Like, you guys are really loyal supporters and I appreciate y'all. So I'll give y'all this story time. Okay, so what's up, Mindy? So me moving to the islands was definitely something that I did like kind of last minute. Like I didn't necessarily plan it for a whole year or even 6 months. I made a decision in April, earlier in April, and then I moved in July. So I made the decision I'm gonna move to the islands, and then in July I did it. So April, May, June, July. That was like 3 months, and I moved like July 14th. So I flew out here July 14th. Basically, what got me to the point of being like, I'm gonna move. I always wanted to live somewhere outside of California. As y'all know, I've been kind of like back and forth from Cali to Texas a little bit. So, I've lived pretty much all over California. I haven't really lived in Southern California. I hung out in Southern California for a little bit, but I don't really like Southern California. It's cool to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. But no offense to anybody that lives there. But yeah, basically, um, so I just decided like I don't want to stay in California, and we're gonna get into the story about why I left Texas because that has a lot to do with me coming back to California and then choosing that I didn't want to stay in California. So basically, back in 2022, I'm gonna get real vulnerable, but I'm gonna be very discreet about which details I share, just because some of the people involved, I want to protect their energy and not like throw them under the bus or anything like that. And it really isn't anything to throw under the bus. I take full responsibility for myself, but I don't know if y'all remember, but I was in a relationship last year and I ended up moving back to Texas because I had previously moved to Texas and then moved to Mount Shasta and then moved back to Texas. I've been back and forth from Cali to Texas pretty much. And the second time that I moved to Texas, it was to be with the dude that I was with. What's up, everybody? It was to be with the dude that I was with. And um, now this kind of pushed me to really make a decision about where I wanted to live because that relationship didn't work out. But I feel like that person, like that relationship really taught me a lot about myself. And I still got love for that person, even though we don't talk and we basically ended up on like horrible terms. Like we just stopped talking to each other. It was just all bad. Um, but I was in a really rough spot because like when I moved to Texas, I literally like gave up everything in my apartment in Mount Shasta. So I literally like gave up all my stuff, gave up the apartment. Granted, I'm a grown ass woman, so I take full accountability for my decisions. Nobody forced me to move back to Texas. It was a choice that I made to be with the person that I wanted to be with at that time. So I basically gave up everything that I owned, my home, everything. And I moved back to Texas and I lived with my partner at the time. And it was really cool for the moment, but I definitely feel like, my bad, y'all. The connection might kind of be a little, but just drop a comment if you're on the live and let me know if the connection's like weird or anything. But yeah, basically, that person like gave up everything that they owned, left their apartment to come drive all the way to California with me and live with me in my apartment. And then after that, I don't think they really liked it. I mean, I think they liked California, but I don't think that they liked where we lived because it was in a very like small mountain town. It was like a very rural town, like in the mountains. And it was snowing and stuff. And I mean, this is somebody who's like from Texas. So it's like they were very not used to that. So yeah, basically they moved with me and then they decided that they did not want to stay there, which was completely fine. So then they left. We broke up and they got their own apartment. I keep saying they, but it was he. Shout out to him if he watching. Um, but he got his own apartment and then he hit me up and was basically like, let's get back together and you come move in with me. So I took that leap of faith because I feel like he sacrificed his apartment that he was living at and he came to move with me, so I should do the same. It wasn't like I felt super obligated, but it was like, okay, like, we kind of we trying to be serious, you feel me? And so I was like, all right, well, cool, let's do it. So we did it. I basically went out there July of last year and stayed with him for like a couple months, and then we made the decision, like, okay, you need to finish up your business at that apartment, you know, tell your landlord that you're, ending your lease and then come move. So I did that, basically got my apartment all together. And then this is a story time, y'all, about how I ended up here on the island. I'm trying my best not to say where I'm at, but if it slips, it slips. Okay? Okay, boom. So, um, yeah, basically, I ended up leaving California and moving back to Texas. And I lived in Dallas at the time. And it was really like different to live in Dallas because before that, I didn't live in Dallas. But when I first moved to Texas, I lived outside of Killeen. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all's good comments and y'all's support. This is very vulnerable. I have not talked about this. I have not opened up about this. And I'm not going to go into too many deep details. Maybe at a later time I would. But right now, I'm going to just keep it kind of general, but still let y'all know what's going on. So, yeah, um, moved to Dallas and we did the little playhouse thing, I guess. And during that time, like, my bad, y'all, for the disturbances. Thank y'all for letting me know that it froze. Should be good by now. Should be good now. All right, but thank y'all for letting me know that it froze. Let me know if it's doing good. Give me a thumbs up or leave a comment in the live. But yeah, basically, I was really invested in that relationship. I put my all into that. That was like the first time that I ever like really trusted somebody. Thank y'all for letting me know that the live is doing good. But yeah, that was the first time that I ever like trusted somebody with myself. Like, to get up and leave my apartment. And y'all, if y'all have been watching me, I was literally camping out in the woods before I got that apartment in California. So it's a lot of things that have led up to this point. But yeah, it took a lot for me to trust that person, trust the process, trust myself. And like during that process, we both kind of realized like it was a real traditional kind of relationship. And I kind of believe that both of us are not really as traditional as we may like to think. And so we were trying to do the whole like stay at home girlfriend and he work and I do my, online stuff. But I wasn't working at the time. I was just doing my online stuff. And, doing stuff around the house and being like the housewife kind of energy. And it was cool for a minute, but I feel like we both realized that it wasn't really realistic because we're both young, and I can't really speak for him, but I feel like from what I observed on my end, I feel like it was a lot of pressure on him to like have be the provider, take care of like the financial responsibilities. And I feel like maybe he signed up for that thinking that it was going to be a certain way, and then it turned out to be something a little bit different. So we kind of both was like, we both kind of felt a burden. I felt like, okay, maybe I should get a job, maybe I should help out, and I felt like he was not. I don't think he was happy. I don't think that he was happy. I don't think it was just with me as a person, but I think that the circumstances that he got himself into by having me move with him, I think it was too much pressure on him. And I kind of feel like we were taking things really serious, but like at the end of the day, we're still young, so what's the rush kind of vibe. But anyways, there was a lot that went on that I can't really get too much into detail about. Like a lot that went on. But I'm not for the sake like even though we're not together and I feel how I feel about how he moved in the situation, I'm still gonna respect him as to say not to put him in a bad light. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put him in a bad light. I'm not gonna talk down on him. But I will say that I don't think that he handled the situation good. And I don't think that I handled it the best way that I could have handled it. I could have been more proactive as far as like, if this is not making me happy, I need to make a move. Instead, I tried to like continue to make things work that weren't working. And like, we were breaking up, making up, breaking up, or whatever. But when we finally broke up, there was a moment where like, I just was like, this is not what I want. Like, I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel like I'm not a burden on anybody, especially because it wasn't like I needed at the before even moving there. I didn't need like a place to live. I had my shit under control. Even though it was a little bit difficult, I had my shit under control. But I didn't really need, it wasn't like, oh, save me, I need somebody to live with, or I need somebody to come and take care of me. It really wasn't like that. So I feel like, um, do you feel like he started acting different once things got harder, and even you? Yeah, I feel like, respectfully to this man, I feel like um I feel like he just kind of the reality hit him. And granted, like he's had other people like in the past, he's had other relationships where he's lived with or had some girl move in with him. But I think this was like the first time that it was like we was living together. Like this wasn't like I had my own apartment in Dallas and then he had his own apartment. Like I left everything to move with him. And I think it was a balanced experience because like I said, he actually had did the same thing. He left everything. He left his apartment. He quit his job. Like left his hometown that I feel like he hasn't lived in California. I think he lived in another state other than Texas, but he had never lived in California. And I apologize to him if I'm getting out too much information. I don't think he's gonna see this. But if he does, I apologize if I'm giving out too much information. But for the sake of like story, I need to explain thoroughly so that people can understand. But so he hadn't really lived besides one other state that I think he lived out. He lived out of state like one time. He had never like just got up, packed all his shit, left his apartment, quit his job, and moved with a girl in a whole different state. And also, it was kind of like that shit was crazy. Like, I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of like, it was the best and worst relationship. And I say it was the best because it was so adventurous. It was so like whirlwind romance. It was like, man, I'm finna come and get you. I'm finna catch a flight and we gonna dip and go back to my apartment in Cali. It was like that. But it wasn't like, oh, we've been talking for a year, we've been talking for 6 months. We've been talking for like a couple months. and we didn't really like we didn't see each other in like the first time I seen him, we was packing his shit to leave to go to Cali. You see what I'm saying? So it was like a really fun relationship, I feel like, in the beginning, and it went through its hard times, but overall I would say it was a fun relationship. And so it was very like boom, 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 boom. Y'all feel free to ask questions in the comments as well. Hindsight is always so wild. Yeah, I think we both did grow from the experience. Um, but yeah, so basically, it came to a point where we was breaking up, making up, breaking up, and the last time that we broke up was around like Thanksgiving, and basically, I just kind of was like realizing that like, you know, I deserve a certain kind of like, I deserve a certain way to be treated because like I don't have to deal with things that I don't want to deal with, and neither did he. So I told him, like, basically when we broke up for last time, I told him like I deserve to be. I'm not gonna get too much into details, but I told him what I felt that I deserved, and that I wasn't getting it, and that like to me it didn't seem like it was that hard. It wasn't like I was like, hey, I need you to buy me a Gucci bag. I need a Louis Vuitton purse. I need to go shopping every week. It was like little shit. Like I want to spend time with you. Granted, we did do things. We went to the Kevin Gates concert, which was hella, hella, hella fun. Shit was lit. We did a lot of different things. But when it got harder, and it was more so financially, when it got harder, um, like he didn't feel like he was getting what he want. Yeah, I was basically asking for what money couldn't buy. Like I just wanted his attention. I wanted to do special things. And he was not very like romantic. I feel like men will be romantic for the woman that they want to be romantic for. Or some of them aren't. But I feel like we didn't have that romance. We were kind of just he was working a lot. I wasn't seeing him a lot. And we were kind of like starting to drift apart. Not necessarily like drift apart from each other, but like drift apart as far as like the focus. I was also very focused on the relationship. I was more focused on the relationship than I was on like taking care of myself, making sure my mental health is good, my physical health is good. And then that started coming up too. Um like yeah, I could tell y'all about that. Why do people act like that? It's so expensive. It's like he was emotionally unavailable, kind of. Yeah, he was emotionally unavailable. And I feel like that was like not I think that was a result of like experiences in his life, and experiences in my life caused me to be like, well, let me just try harder. Let me just, let me just keep trying to make it work. But really, I think, and there was times where he would tell me like, you need to take care of yourself, do your self care, like stop trying to worry too much about this relationship. You're letting this relationship like be the focus, and it's distracting you, and it's distracting me. And I feel like the relationship that we had with ourselves was the reason why, like the imbalance that we had with ourselves was the reason why like we weren't able to show up for each other. He was going to therapy. I should have been in therapy at that time, but there was just a lot of like trauma and a lot of like energy that we had both experienced prior to this relationship, that we kind of like, when we linked up, we were kind of like each other's rescue. Like it was like we had been fighting these traumatic experiences and dealing with them and living with them for so long by ourselves that we kind of like seen each other. It was like we recognized like, okay, you know what's going on. You know what I'm dealing with. I know what you're dealing with. Like you see me in the mix of all this trauma and pain and hurt from our past and our childhoods. It's like you see me and I see you. It was very, very deep. Like one of the deepest relationships I've ever had in my life. Like I've been with somebody for like almost 3 years before. That relationship was like nothing compared to this. But they were two different kind of relationships. This one was more so like we're on the same page, we see each other, we're at the same level as far as like experience, knowledge, how we interpret the world kind of energy. And so for that, I will always love that person, even though I've probably been a little asshole. Like, whatever. I'm not going to apologize about it, but I will say that I've grown from it and I've learned how do you guys show up in those situations? Can you tell a lot about your compatibility? Well, I feel like what I really liked about him is that he might not be the best communicator, but he will want to talk about something. Like, he's not gonna be like, oh, you feel some sort of way, well, forget you. He'll be like, so what do you so do you want to talk about it? Like, he was a very, like, I wouldn't say he was the best communicator, but he was open to communicate, which was really refreshing because I've never really been in a relationship where somebody was able to intellectually even have that same, like, balance, you know? You see what I'm saying? Like, intellectually, we was on the same path. We knew about the same stuff as far as spirituality, like different life experiences. Granted, we both had different types of experiences on our own path, but it was definitely like a good, like, being able to open. When I tell you, this man had to break open my heart, like, he had to break down my walls. He had to literally, like, break in. I was so, like, kind of masculine and guarded and, like, just not really, like, in my feminine energy that much because of what I had experienced. So yeah, I feel like I was very supportive to him, very nurturing. I would have his back through anything. Like, literally, if anybody would come at him or say anything, family, friends, like, I'd be the first person to, like, talk to him and help him understand and, like, dig deep into it. I was not the type to be like, "Oh, you a man, you need to stop crying, you need to stop like complaining." I would be like, "Nah, your feelings are valid," and, like, very, very, like, accepting and open of him. Um, Granted, there was probably some things that I needed to work on with certain things that he wanted to be open about, maybe that about who he was and how he's lived his life. That, it's like when you see somebody doing something that you feel like you're better than that, and it's like, but that's who that person is at that moment, so you should just accept them and figure it out, or do what you got to do. I feel like I could have been better at that. And I feel like for him, maybe he could have been more better at, like he understood me really well, but I feel like he also had a perception of me that wasn't necessarily me all the time. Like, I think that he didn't always see through me or see me all the time. But yeah, I did have fun. I did have fun with him. We did some fun stuff. Like, we were just wild as fuck. As far as, like, how we even linked up was just wild as fuck. But it was really spiritual. It was very healing. Um, Sabrina said you never know what holds the future between you guys. I don't know. I feel like we're probably both moving on. But he taught me a lot. That relationship taught me a lot about myself through the ups and the downs. And I wouldn't be opposed to, like, being cool with him or being friends with him, but I don't think that he's on that right now. So I'm just giving him his space, even though I kind of initiated the giving the space as far as, like, communication. Um, I don't know what's the future with that situation, but I know that it taught me a lot. And at the end of that relationship, I basically was like, you know what, like, I deserve better. I'm ready to get better. And it's no offense to him. He could only give me what he had at the moment. You know what I'm saying? In the midst of dealing with trauma and family and people's opinions about the relationship and shit, I feel like he could have protected me a little bit better from other people that was around him, and maybe I could have did the same for him, but for whatever reason that didn't happen. But yeah, I definitely chose me. But what I want to get to the root of the situation is that when I chose me, it was a real reality check, because it was like, okay, now that I'm choosing me and saying that, I deserve what I deserve, I had a responsibility to give that to me. And I was at a point where I didn't necessarily have the resources. I didn't have the money at the time. I had, like, a little bit of money. And, I got a job and I quit because I really don't do 9 to 5. I don't like doing the 9 to 5 stuff. And I don't like to do what I don't want to do. But, like, I basically was asked out. Like, I basically was, like, living in motels in Dallas for a minute. And then I went back home to Cali around the holidays. And then we were still communicating then. And I never like, for me, when I'm going through stuff, I don't feel like I need to try to see other people, or like, I don't need to like, I feel like that's kind of lame, because it's like you don't have your life together. So I wasn't like seeing other people. I don't know about him, his situation. I don't really want to speak on him. I feel like that I don't want to put words in his mouth about what was going on, even though I feel like I knew what was going on, but maybe I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I wasn't seeing other people at that time. I was pretty much on my solo dolo. So after I left, it was very sad, but we both kind of figured that it would be better just to get ourselves a little bit more together. And I planned on moving to Houston, so I went back to the holidays last year in December for my mom's birthday and for the holidays. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna move to Houston. That was already the plan I told him before I left. And I went to Houston. The apartment flopped. I got the apartment, got approved for it, but it flopped. So I was just in Houston, living out of a motel for like 2 months. And then I went back to Dallas. I didn't communicate with him. We had stopped communication. Like, we had a little, our last conversation was like really like, all right, well, deuces, you know? So then I went back to, I was in Houston for a little bit. I got a job there for a little bit, didn't like it. I worked literally one day and then I quit. Um, and then enlightenment, no, but I'm gonna get to that part. I'm gonna get to that part. Enlightened intuitive. So I was in Houston for like 2 months, I think. And like I said, I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, let me try to get over somebody with a new person. But I did have a friend that I had met when I lived in Texas the first time. We weren't like on no type of like talking terms or anything, but I did like, just communicate with him for a little bit. Shout outs to him too. He's cool. Even though me and him also got a little, I'm like, but we didn't really talk like that. We've always just been friends. He's a really cool person. But anyways, so I was kind of like reaching out to him, but then that wasn't really, it was really me needing to focus. So then I ended up going to Dallas, and then I stayed in Dallas because I was going to work at a bar, and I went for a job interview. That flopped. So um, I could have got the job, but it wasn't the position I wanted. I wanted to be a bartender, but they were like, oh, you could be security. And I was like, nah. But that was in Deep Ellum. Could have got a job in Deep Ellum, but I was like, nah. But then something really, really cool happened, and I can't talk about it because I've already signed some agreements. But something really, 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 really cool happened. It's actually funny. The day that I went back to Dallas, the homie in Houston was like, oh, I'm finna slide. And I was like, I'm not even in Houston no more. But something really, really cool happened, like in the midst of that. When I tell y'all that was my darkest time, my darkest. When I tell y'all I was at my low. And I don't know if y'all know, I've been homeless before. I've slept in cars before. I've slept at parks before. And I'm not ashamed to say that because I know that that's the process for me sometimes. When you hit rock bottom, all you could do is go up. When I tell y'all I was literally living in a freaking hotel for hella months. And then I went back to Dallas. The coolest fucking thing and when I tell y'all, like, y'all gotta tap in with me. Cause when I tell y'all, I was really every single day programming my mind, so like doing subconscious programming, having an abundance mindset, even at my lowest. All right. So something really cool happened, and I ended up being contacted by a group of people, and basically had some like situation happen. I can't talk about it, but I had a situation happen where I was contacted by a group of people, and like, anyways, I'm gonna tell y'all how that connects. So that happened. So then I was like, cool. So then I had a friend that I hadn't seen in like a minute from college when I lived in Humboldt back in Cali, had reached out to me, and basically I kind of explained to her my situation. She told me some things that was going on with her. So she was like, you should just come out to LA And she was like, I got a situation going out here in LA where you can make hella money and it's not like a 9 to 5 job. And I was like, okay, cool. So I ditched Dallas, went to LA, and like started like figuring that stuff out with her. And then my bestie Gypsy, shout outs to Gypsy, that's my homegirl. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that girl has seen me go through like literally that girl has seen me go through my fucking ups and downs, boy. Like I love Gypsy. That's my dog for life. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I don't give a fuck if we fight, argue, don't talk. That's gonna be my dog for life. That's like my family. Gypsy fucking Pixie. She lived in LA, and like when I went to LA, the girl was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna figure this out," and it started to kind of like not be so solid. So I stayed with Gypsy for a little bit in LA, and that was the high rise apartment that I was at when I was in LA. And Gypsy, I love that girl. I'm gonna call her after this and tell her how much I love her because that's really my best friend. Oh God, in the game. And mind you, like me and Gypsy have been knowing each other since 7th grade. Y'all probably haven't seen Gypsy on this channel a whole lot, but if you look back in like April, some of those videos she might be in them. But anyways, so I was still going through my rock bottom. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was lost. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I felt like I had made a mistake giving up my apartment. I was regretting a lot. I was missing that person, that relationship. Sometimes I still miss that person, that relationship. And I kind of want to, like, let y'all know that even when you close chapters and move on with your life, it's okay to miss people. Even if they were horrible to you, you were horrible to them. I'm not saying that that person was horrible to me, but just overall, even if you had a toxic relationship or it's okay to miss people. You have the choice of what you're gonna do moving forward, but it's okay to love people. It's okay to miss people. And I'm gonna say for the record, like, I will always love that person. Like, that was my dog too. Like, that motherfucker, it was hard because it wasn't just like a relationship. It was like, that was my friend, that was my homie. We was gang, like we was Libra gang in that motherfucker, hard as a bitch. Like, we was gang in that bitch, like rocking solid, boy. I can't even talk about it, but your girl was out here taking flights, catching flights, busting moves, taking a trip, going out of town, bringing back that work and then busting it down. You feel me? Anyways, so yeah, that was like it was a really fun relationship. It had its lows, definitely, but like my heart goes out to that person, that relationship, that time, because that was a beautiful time. Obviously, I've moved forward, I've changed. I'm not the same person that I was before, but that relationship was dope. Anyways, so I was in LA and hanging out there for a minute, but I was really trying to figure out like what I was gonna do. Like for a minute, I was like, "Fuck, I don't know what I'm gonna do." Like with my life, where I'm gonna go, what's going on. Like it was really difficult. And then that group of people that contacted me, I can't even say too much, but I ended up back in Mount Shasta for a little bit. That shit was busting. Like I was in Mount Shasta over here whipping it. And we did that dope ass, like, thank God for that. That's still coming soon. All I'm gonna say is coming soon. I can't talk about it. I've already signed contracts and agreements and disclosures and stuff, so I cannot really talk any further about it. But what I will say is that shit was beautiful too because it's like all the experiences that I had linked up with each other. Me living on the mountain and literally living on the mountain for 5 months turned into like, right, a spiritual experience for me, my spiritual journey. Then that turned into like me being able to reach out to other content creators and like, you feel me, do interviews on their channel, and like then leading to the group of people contacting me to talk about that experience and share my knowledge and my wisdom and my heart. Like, I'm so grateful for that. Like, because even though all this shit happened, it all led, everything was so in line. That's why I always preach, like, you can't miss an opportunity that's meant for you. I can't miss an opportunity that's meant for me ever. Even though I thought, like, man, I missed out on my apartment, I still connected back. And it was beautiful. And all my struggles and stuff, it was just temporary. Although that shit was, when I tell you I was at my lowest fucking point, like, didn't have a lot of money, living out of hotels, motels. Like, not to mention, I'm gonna keep it a beam with y'all, not to mention, like, right, a lot of women specifically that are in that situation, urban women who are down on their ass, could have a couple of options. Like, you don't have to be broke. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they have a couple options of what they could do. I never even considered like selling myself or selling my body, but that was something that was like in the area that I was at in Texas so prevalently. Was like, obviously you're living in motels and hotels. You know what I'm saying? There's girls that live next door to me that are doing whatever they're doing. No judgment to them. It was so easy. It could have been so easy for me to slip through the cracks and just even be like, you know what, fuck it. I'm at my lowest. I'm sad. I'm depressed. Like, my soul was broken. Not to mention, like, it wasn't just the breakup, it was how other people were like perceiving me, talking about me, treating me, even my own family, which I'm not going to go into too much detail about. I was at my lowest and I feel like I had nobody to call. Like, I could have went back to my mom's house, but that was a toxic environment for me at the time. I was at my lowest. All I could call on was God. I swear to y'all, like, all I could do was like trust in God, bro. Like, that shit was so crazy. Like, I'm not even trying to get emotional, but that shit, I literally like died. Like, spiritually, I died. I felt what it felt like to like die, like, and be by yourself and not have anybody there. Like, cause I wasn't talking to nobody at the time. I wasn't talking to a single soul. I was just doing my TikTok and my YouTube shit. That shit broke my fucking soul. Like, but it was also a blessing because it rebirthed me. I rebirthed myself, and God rebirthed me. You know what I'm saying? And like, that shit was very, very hard. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, honestly. I wouldn't wish that shit on my worst enemy. I would help my worst enemy if they were in a position where they didn't have anybody and they were going through like that. I would help a motherfucker before I turn my back on them. That shit was the worst. And I wanted to share this and be vulnerable because I wanted to. I don't know what y'all going through in your life, and I hope that you guys are doing good. But I wanted to kind of share with y'all that it like things don't always stay the same. So, anyways, after I went to Mount Shasta and did what I did out there, um, I came back to LA and it was kind of like, okay, I'm literally couch surfing at Gypsy's house. I'm doing my TikTok shit, but like, I don't want to burden her. You know what I'm saying? So then I went end up going back to my mom's house, and it was actually very ironic because that's the last place that I wanted to go to. It just made me feel like I was just like worthless. Like, damn, you can't even support yourself. But I went back to my mom's house, and it ended up that I needed to be there because oh, I love y'all. Thank y'all for being with me on my journey. But it ended up being that I needed to be at my mom's house because she actually ended up needing my help. I'm not going to tell her business, but she actually needed my help. So I helped her. But while I was in LA, I made the decision like, okay, I'm going to move to the island. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. Granted, like the money situation, right? Like, I didn't know how because moving can be expensive. But I only had a duffel bag. I had a backpack and a duffel bag, y'all. And so in April, I made the decision. Then I went to my mom's house, I think, at the end of April. And it was actually very funny because I went back to her house on the exact day that I left her house in December to go to Houston. I went back the same day. Um, what's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? So, yeah. And then, so I was coming up with my plan. And, like, again, I feel so blessed. And I'm so thankful to my ancestors and my spirit guides and God and Most High Creator Source. I'm even grateful to my darkness because my darkness has surrounded me so much to a point where all I could do was let my light shine. All I could do was let my light shine. Excuse me. Granted, my mind was so negative at that time. Like, there was negativity surrounding me. The environment was negative, depressing. I felt trapped. My thoughts were negative. I was still thinking about that breakup. and just all the things that had happened. I was feeling spiritually attacked, all that shit. And I'm not trying to make myself a victim, but I'm just letting y'all know the process. And then I just made the decision that that's not what I wanted, and that I want to move to the islands, and that I'm going to do it. And at first, I was going to volunteer to a specific little sanctuary out here, but that didn't end up working out. Like, I had applied to multiple different places, they did not hit me back. And so I was like, well, I'm still gonna move out there. So I got my ass on Craigslist. I started looking for places. Mind you, like, I'm stacking up my bread because I'm like, staying with my mom, helping her out. But when I tell you, like, I had to like really manifest it. Like, I had to not, if I had looked at my financial situation, um, if I had looked at my financial situation and like, just looked at it and was like, I don't think I can do this, or I don't think that I could, like, you know, I don't think that this is enough money. If I had like really just looked at my financial situation and let that be the determining factor whether I was gonna move or not, I wouldn't have moved. So it was really me making a decision. And I want to get into another video about how I manifested this place. But that's gonna be another video. But basically, I did a deep manifestation. I was manifesting every day, every single day I was manifesting in the negative environment, in the environment that was like draining and weighing me down. Manifesting, 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 manifesting. I didn't tell anybody, and I still haven't told anybody where I'm at. I told like my sister. Um, oh, I appreciate you, Chanel. I told my sister and my bestie, Gypsy, and I told my bestie Ellington. But other than that, I didn't tell nobody. When I was manifesting it, I didn't tell anybody. But when I got here, I ended up telling, who needed to know. And some people have found out. And I feel like if you know, you know. It may not be that hard to figure out. But yeah, I didn't tell anybody where I was going. I didn't tell anybody that I was moving. I just let my family know, like, because there was something going on with my mom. And I let her know, like, I'm going to take care of you, but, like, I'm not going to be here forever. Like, I still kind of got to live my life, and I still got to get up and go. Otherwise, I'm going to be trapped here. So I let them know, like, a month ahead. Like, I'm finna be out in the world again, y'all. I'm finna get giddy, okay? So then I manifested it, looked at the place on Craigslist, talked to the property owner, who's amazing. She's an amazing woman. I love her. I feel like they're my family here. Like, I feel that family energy here with them for sure. It feels like if I had been adopted or something and grew up with them, this is what it feels like. So yeah. But she's very awesome. She's helped me a lot. And I moved. And I didn't tell nobody where I went. I just jumped. I moved. And that process took a lot. So all that I just told y'all was the process of me pushing me to make a decision about where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. But the seed that was planted all the way back last year was that I deserve better. And I deserve better. That was the seed that I planted. I didn't know exactly how that was going to come, what it was going to look like, how it was going to happen. But I knew that I deserved better. And by the grace of God, with my faith, my spirit team, my ancestors, because God knows they've been fighting on my behalf. Because I'm telling you, like, it wasn't just, oh, you're going through a breakup. It was like I was being spiritually attacked. Like, when I tell you I feel like I had died, like, I feel like there was an energy that wanted me to literally die, like, physically. Like, there was an energy that wanted me to off myself. Like, so that's why I really try to keep the gossip at a low, because I feel like gossip and talking about people is conjuring up negative energy towards people. And I myself have done it. So it's not like I'm like an angel or a saint, but I really, like, y'all don't know what nobody's going through. You could talk crap about them, you could say that they're a horrible person, whatever, but you don't know what people are going through if you don't have nothing nice to say, just wish them the best and keep it pushing. Like, pray for them to have better and keep it pushing. But sitting around talking about people and what they got going on, that can really kill people's spirit. That's like, those are spiritual attacks, whether you know that's what's happening or not. Sometimes it's not that you're trying to attack a person, but there are spirits that are working through you to attack that person. So I feel like that's really important. But yeah, I was being spiritually attacked, like, for fucking sure. Even if it wasn't people intentionally trying to do it, just thinking negative thoughts about me, wishing for me to fail, fucking with my money, people pocket watching me to see how much money I'm making, if I'm still doing good, am I still popping? Like, it was a lot. And by the grace of God, like, I moved through all that energy and, had the strength to overcome it. But imagine if I was not as strong minded as I was, I could have easily fallen into prostitution. Because, like I said, when I was living in those hotels, that's what those girls in those hotels were doing. I never did it, ever. And I'm not trying to judge nobody or say that I feel better, but for me personally, I know that I deserve better for myself. So I never fell into that. Could have easily done that. Easily could have got sucked into it. But I kept to myself. I cried myself to sleep. There was days that I woke up and I was like, fuck. Like, this feels like a nightmare. I feel like I'm waking up in the worst fucking nightmare. Over and over and over and over and over again, I kept waking up in a reality that I hated. And to see that, like, even in the midst of that, got a call from those group of people, like, the biggest thing that's ever happened in my fucking life when I was at my lowest. Um, been doing good financially, been doing good with my TikTok, my YouTube, all that stuff. Like, I never gave up. I couldn't give up. That's how I was taking care of myself. I didn't have a choice. I couldn't not get on YouTube or not, stop doing my TikTok. That's what was providing me support, at that time. Um, because I was not being supported by anybody else, like my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, none of them, nobody. And that's not their responsibility. I'm not saying that they need to support me, but I'm just saying that I literally cut everybody off, went into hermit mode, as painful as it was, like, faced my demons, faced my worst, like, lowest point. I've been, like I said, I've been homeless before, but that was my lowest point because I really felt like I had nobody. Like, I literally felt like there was nobody there for me. Like, nobody was checking for me. Nobody cared about me. That shit felt low. Like I said, if my worst enemy hit me up today and was like, girl, I ain't got nobody. I know we don't fuck with each other, but I don't got nobody. Can you just talk to me on the phone? I promise you I would in a heartbeat. I would never, never wish that on anybody. I would never wish for nobody to be alone, struggling, having no money, having nobody. So yeah, that's how I ended up being here. And now I'm extremely, extremely at peace. Like, this is the peace that I prayed for. I'm in a beautiful paradise. Like, I kind of want to show y'all, but I don't know if I can flip the camera. Oh, I can't flip the camera. I'm going to show y'all. Like, I'm in a beautiful ass paradise. Like, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I'm in a beautiful, like, you can't really see it because it's all this, but I'm in, like, the most beautiful paradise, like, place ever. Like, it's so beautiful here, and there's so much love and positivity. It's so healing. You know what I'm saying? Like, being out here in the islands is really, really healing. My bad, that was a shitty view. Y'all couldn't really see it, but um, I'll do some more vlog videos. I'm actually gonna do another vlog video where I'm gonna do a Q&A and give y'all, like, a week in my life here. It's gonna be really dope. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of come on here and talk about that and give y'all hope. If you're going through anything in your life right now, or if you have before, it gets better with time. It gets better with time. What's up, everybody? It gets better with time. And even the people that talked about me or had a different perception of me than what was accurate and what was authentic and true, even those people who didn't, maybe thought that I was the monster and I was the person that was being all fucked up, I still wish them well. I still wish them well. I wish them peace. I wish them love. I wish that they have a point in their life where they can experience this beauty. Like, this is pure beauty. Like, this nature, this, like, the birds chirping, nature, beautiful sunny day, always beautiful. It rains here sometimes, but even the rain be beautiful. Like, I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful to God, and I'm really thankful to even those people and those circumstances that pushed me to want better for myself, because if it hadn't pushed me, if it hadn't been like me not feeling that I was getting what I needed, I would have stayed, and I was even gonna stay. What's up, Goddess of Pleasure? I was even gonna stay in that situation and try to make it work. Had it not been for like the person telling me that they don't want to do this with me anymore, and whatever. I don't fully know all of the situation as it comes to now, but from my perception at that time, that person telling me like, or showing me that they wanted to do other things, and me knowing that I deserved a lot because I put in a lot, and we both put in a lot, but that, me going through that dark night of the soul, and then me making a decision even through the toxic energy to manifest this place, like it's one big huge blessing, and the story is still being written. The story still continues, and there's gonna be more to come. Y'all gonna see me on the big screen, and I'm saying that like that's underway right now. I'm not saying like one day you're gonna see me on. No, I'm saying like I can't talk about it, but y'all gonna see me, okay? Y'all gonna see me on the big screen, and y'all are gonna be able to understand more of my story and more of like what I've experienced, even deeper than what I've talked about today. So yeah, I don't want to make it all about me, but I wanted to give y'all an explanation because I know a lot of you guys are wondering. Even people who watching, I know some of my family and friends be watching, or people I don't talk to or haven't talked to in a while. Shout outs to y'all. They be watching me, and I'm not trying to be sound conceited or like egotistic, but I know that people be watching me. And so, I mean, if this is what you're looking for, here it is. Like, here's the explanation. Some of y'all may be going through a hard time. Some of y'all may be dealing with some things, but it's very possible. And I feel like no matter how old you are or how young you are, like as long as you have an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do, it doesn't matter if you have $0 to your name. It doesn't matter like if you are in your lowest, darkest place. If you make that decision that you deserve better for yourself, and you cut everything out of your life that is not better for you, even if you got to deal with a toxic situation in the meantime, God will put you in certain places to get where you need to go. And if you kind of communicate with God and incorporate God into your life, doesn't you don't have to believe in like the Christian God. You could believe in Buddha, whatever. Just as so long as you connect to a higher source, mother goddess even. Some of y'all may not even deal with the patriarchy. You deal with the matriarchs. You deal with mother goddess, right? Once you make that decision, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel very painful. It's gonna feel like everybody turn their back on you, or you gotta cut yourself loose from everybody. It's gonna feel like you're alone. But I'm telling you, it's the best thing that you can do for yourself. And I'm telling you, you do have to separate to elevate. You're not going to be able to take certain people with you. You may be able to come back around maybe years later or months later, whatever, and, talk to certain people and have conversations, or, you might be able to kind of revisit. But, like, you have to separate yourself from what is hurting you, what is making you sick. Like, when I went through all that stuff, I had stopped drinking. I had stopped smoking. Now, granted, in LA, I was drinking a lot, but I quit drinking, quit smoking, like wasn't doing no type of substances. I wasn't doing no mushrooms, nothing. And even when I was in Houston and Dallas, when I was in the motels, I wasn't doing like, I wasn't drinking or smoking at all. I wasn't drinking or smoking at all. Appreciate you, Black. I'm just telling y'all because I feel like Spirit put it on my heart to share. Like, this is my personal testimony. I'm not trying to brag, or I'm not trying to get sympathy. I'm not a victim. I'm telling y'all, like, the strength that it takes to get to where you want to go. Like, this September, I came in July, August, September. Yeah, about 2 months ago, I was in a fucked up ass situation. 2 months ago. And 2 months later, here I am in ultimate paradise, like living the life. Like, it's beautiful here where I'm at. I can go to the beach any day I want to. I can go hiking any day I want to. I'm living off the land. We got solar panels up in this motherfucker. We ain't even on the power grid. We got solar panels and propane tanks up in this bitch. You see what I'm saying? Like, so just if anybody's going through anything right now, I would definitely suggest that you talk to God and, put the trust in yourself. And all you have to do is tell yourself that you want better, and the universe will create a path for you. It might be a hard path, it might be an easy path, but the universe will create a path for you to get where you gotta go. Um, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's pretty much my story. And I also want to say, if you guys are interested, I am doing an online course on October 1st called The Healer's Guide to Dating. This course actually was inspired by that relationship too. And also some of the clients that have gotten readings from me. I noticed that a lot of healers will attract certain people in relationships, and whether it's known or unknown to the person who's coming to you for the relationship or trying to have a relationship with you. Sometimes you'll attract people that have unhealed wounds that mirror your unhealed wounds or wounds that you're working on. So this healer guide to dating is going to teach you what kind of healer you are. It's also going to show you like what kind of people you attract, and it's also going to show you, I'm going to be teaching you how to properly spiritually vet using different rituals, how to properly spiritually vet the people that you're going to allow to enter into your space. I'm going to teach y'all about the red flags to look out for when it comes to relationships and dating, and basically how to spiritually kind of commune with yourself about whether or not you should allow somebody in your space. And if you do find a good connection, I'm also going to be teaching y'all how to protect it, because I feel like also in that relationship, I didn't tell y'all really, but I didn't really protect the relationship. I was talking to people about the relationship, and I was kind of being real, like, just too open. Even though I was being private about it, at certain times I was being too open. So yeah, I will be also teaching you guys how to spiritually protect your partnership if you do find somebody that is you feel is worthy enough to be in your space, and that you feel is a good match for you and you want to continue building with that person, how to protect that connection. Because sometimes we let people in our relationships, and that can be the downfall of the relationship too, is other people getting in the relationship with their opinions and their thoughts and shit. But yeah, check out the description box below. It actually has the course link there. Also, if you guys want to book a personal reading, if you're done with anything, you need a personal reading, the information is below. If you want to join the monthly subscription for extended zodiac readings, as you'll know, I don't do zodiacs on my channel anymore, but I do zodiacs in the extended. If you sign up for the highest tier, you have access to extended readings from YouTube, weekly zodiac readings, all of that. And then, yeah, if you guys want to check out my TikTok, also going to be doing our spiritual support group on Saturday. It's supposed to be last Saturday, but it's going to be this Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, yeah, I thank y'all for listening and staying with me. And I really hope to encourage anybody here that could be going through a hard time that it's not going to be that way forever. And if you have to like isolate yourself and kind of like hone in on yourself to do that, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself. All right. So I love y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.